Okay, here's a theory on how to hack, train, practice productivity, practice getting work done. And to premise, I've been struggling for most of my life, all of my life that I remember, with completing projects, with getting work done, with following through. And I started to question why. That drove me into a rabbit hole. I started to question how, right? How am I unproductive? That got me some more clarity. And now I'm thinking a lot about how to get better, how to be more productive. And productivity often is confused with busyness. And I confused that too. I confused productivity with busyness. I don't need to answer that. Productivity is doing the right work or getting the right work done, fulfilling some kind of expectation, fulfilling your goals that you have, keeping up with your plan, sticking to a process. That's productive. Busyness is filling time. It's doing things for the sake of doing things. So what I realized is a lot of the things I was doing was actually perpetuating what could be perceived as laziness. And where I was at, it was really like, this is what I need to do. This is the work I need to get done. This is the rest I need to take. This is what I need to do in order to be productive. And yet I was missing the mark. I was still really not getting a lot done that was moving the needle forward. I was doing things that were keeping me in this wheel, this hamster wheel, maintaining more than anything, more than growing. So a lot of these jobs, a lot of these tasks, I realized, one, I wasn't very good at. They were things that I would struggle with when I would do it. It would, for something that would take me an hour or 2 or 5 or days, could take someone else 10 minutes. Now, in order to be productive, that seems like the opposite. That seems counterproductive, right? So I thought to myself, okay, well, I could get better at this. Or I could hire someone. I could get help. I could find someone to train me. Okay, that works well, right? So you hire coaches. That's a great way to get better at something. You simply ask for help, get better at something. Awesome. And getting better at something is one thing, right? You also just keep passing something off is really valuable too, especially these jobs that take away a lot of time where you could be spending that time more wisely, more productively. So the theory on the topic of getting better at things, right? The theory that I'm having on how to train productivity is this, and I can relate it to running. When I train to run, when I train, let's say for a long endurance event, it's very likely that my average speed will be a bit slower during that endurance event than if I was going for a shorter run, for a sprint even, right? My speed will be slower. The length of time is much longer. And yet people can increase their speed at distance, right? So for example, I could run a marathon in 5 hours, which is, what is that? About an 11-minute mile, 11 or 12-minute mile. And then some people could run a marathon in 2 hours. So it's the same long distance with significantly less time taken. So it can be done. It can be trained, right? You can get faster. And some of that's genetic. I may never run a 2-hour marathon. I don't know if I would want to. That takes a lot of training, a lot of work. But I would like to run like a 3:30 marathon. That's a really cool time to run in. That's like a 7.5-minute mile for 26 miles. So how do I get down from 12 minutes to 7.5 minutes? Well, I got to train. I got to practice. I have to get better at this. it's a skill. And also it's conditioning in your body. You want to join, Bodhi? Come on. Come on. Bodhi's going to weigh in on this too. So we could treat productivity work done, right? Just executing work similar to how you would train speed work for long distance running. So in order to learn to run faster, you have to learn how to run faster. You do that flatter courses, shorter distances, rest periods, downhill. Right? You have to actually move your legs faster, and then your body will adapt to that speed. And given your fitness state, depending on where you're at, you may be able to increase the speed over the course of that 26 miles, a marathon distance, right? Pretty long distance. And that's how it works. That's how you train. So generally you would get really good at going long, and then dial back, work on speed, and then ramp back up at speed, at race pace that you desire, and test, trial and error. So with running, you can train speed. You can get better at running faster. With productivity, with work, let's say I'm writing a bunch of emails and I'm working on content creation. A lot of this is really fun for me. So the speaking part, the thinking through, playing with Bodhi. And then a lot of it is really challenging for me, the sitting down to edit, going through a process of editing, narrating, or changing certain commentary, or fixing frames, or writing email sequences, promoting, posting, things like that, right? The more repetitive tasks, routine, these are really difficult for me. I know like other people are way better. And also I want to get better at these things. Reading too. Reading is slow for me. I could get better at all of these, and I could be able to do it faster. So how do we do it faster? Well, one is just like running a marathon. We want to get your baseline conditioning up. So I would have someone train up to be able to run, 18, 20 miles at this slower, much slower pace. Okay, now I know they can handle being on their feet for 3 or 4 hours, right? Now dial it back, do some speed work. If the goal is 3 to 4 hours, let's say 3.5 hours, and we know they can run for 3.5 hours, we need to now get them faster in that time frame. So in training, let's go for a 3.5 hour run. That's going to be about, let's say it's going to be about 20 miles for someone who's starting at a lower baseline. Great. Once you've proven you can do that, then you could start working on the hard stuff, the actual fast running. So related to productivity, related to work, I want to build myself up to where I can blaze through X amount of time, let's say 90 minutes of work on emails. And I want to do that at a pace that's comfortable for me. So in this case, writing about something that's really comfortable, that comes naturally, that comes easily to me. So I'm conditioning myself to be sitting at a computer, typing, going back and forth between certain things on my screen for X amount of time, for 90 minutes. And once I've proven to myself I can do that without breaking my focus, maybe a 5-minute break that's planned, right? You got to take water breaks when you're on your run. Okay, I've proven I can do that. Now let me dose in the harder things. So I'll go for a 90-minute time span, and I'll do big bursts of harder writing or more difficult, more tedious work, the things I'm currently learning the skills I'm developing. And I'll do that in short bursts. And then I'll do the stuff I'm really good at in long bursts. So let's say 10 minutes of doing video editing, for example. That's difficult for me. And then 15 minutes writing my blog. And then I'll go back and forth, or I'll just focus on the one thing to get a project done, and I'll take actual breaks in between. So for 90 minutes, maybe I'll work 25 minutes straight on a hard project, and then go take 5 minutes to walk outside, look at the sun, drink a little bit of water, and then get back to work. So what I'm essentially doing is dosing in these sprint intervals of difficult work. So I'm treating my my work, my productivity, as if it is my training for endurance events, by ramping myself up, conditioning myself to this time frame, right, that I want to be working in at a high productivity rate, right, faster speed. And then I will dial it back, train, work on getting better, getting stronger with my the skills that were challenging me. And what this ends up doing is I can practice skills, right, in these shorter doses, smaller doses. And through that practice, over that course of time, I'm getting reps in, right? It's becoming easier every time. So I can increase the frequency and then add a new skill, right? So we're constantly improving. And treating it like this, what I've noticed is I can gamify it. I can make it fun. Bodhi loves to talk in the camera, right, Bodhi? I can make it fun for me. I could also really increase the rate at which I get shit done. So I'm getting a lot more work done. And what's really cool is I'm able to do it faster. That's productivity. So no more busyness. Now I'm working 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours a day. And the rest of the time I get to do this. Say bye.